Am I the a-hole for not offering support to my dad's wife and laughing at her when she asked for it? My dad's wife found out 6 weeks ago that he's been cheating on her for years. They have 3 kids together and she had no idea he was cheating. His wife, who I'll call and for this post, was my dad's affair partner when he was married to my mom. I was like 8 when we found out, and how that happened was dad brought and over to pick up his stuff because he wanted to move in with her. Neither of them gave a shit that I was there. A few weeks later, my mom died, car accident, and I moved in with my dad but I didn't look at either of them in a positive light. I still don't, and I'm 17 now. And I butted heads a lot over the years. She would talk about deserving more respect, and I told her she was just the lady my dad cheated on mom with, and she'd never be more than that in my eyes. I told her I didn't respect her as a person or as a supposed family member. Dad tried to get me to see him more positively at first, but when he realized I'd ask the big questions like why he did that to my mom and me, he stopped trying. I always assumed he found a new mistress but didn't have proof until a year and a half ago when I saw him with another woman. I said nothing and I carried on waiting for the day she found out. There were times I wanted to rub it into her face so bad, but I didn't. I was laughing at her behind her back, and I'll admit that. When and found out, she kicked Dad out and I moved out with him. This was seen as a controversial choice because Ann wanted me to stay, and since everything went down, and has wanted me to visit her and wanted me to be with her and Dad's kids. I'm not close to the kids and don't really care about having a relationship with them. Last week, Dad brought me by Ann's place to pick up more of our stuff. Ann's family were there, and Ann and her family were scolding me for choosing Dad over Ann and saying and deserved my support. That they couldn't believe I'd picked Dad's side over hers. I said I picked neither side. But Ann means nothing to me, so I'm not going to do shit for her. Ann's mom told me Ann was a victim. I told them she cheated with a married man and shouldn't be shocked that he'd do the same to her, because she's nothing special. They kept engaging with me, and my dad was taking his sweet-ass time, and decided to talk to me one-on-one and asked me to stand by her and support her and help her give the kids a good life and show we're still a family. I laughed in her face and started to cry. Her family asked her about it and she told them I'd laughed. They called me disgusting and cruel and said I should be ashamed of treating someone in my family that way. Ann's sister sent me a few DMs before I locked down my socials, but she said I should apologize to Ann and be there for her now to make up for my reaction to her. She told me to be a better man and not some pathetic child who blames the woman for stuff. Am I the a-hole?
I told them she cheated with a married man and shouldn't be shocked that he'd do the same to her. That's all there is to say. Not the a-hole.
Well, you know the old saying, when a man marries his mistress, he opens up a vacancy. It's crazy how affair partners act so shocked that a cheater cheats. If he cheated to be with you, then he'll cheat on you. You ain't special. Not the a-hole. I dunno why she was so desperate for your support when you've been obvious in your dislike of her for years. It's like touching a hot stove and being shocked and upset when it burns you.
Not the a-hole. I don't get the sociopath comments. Relishing her pain is a bit cruel, but her and her family expecting you to stand by her and continue living with her is insane. That I would laugh at myself. I bet you were going to cut them both off at 18 anyway.
I don't get it either. AP is delusional and stupid. She caused a world of hurt and wants sympathy. Now the same has happened to her. Cry me a river.
She wants a free babysitter. That's it. She said to Opie to help her give her kids a good life. She planned to dump those kids on Opie to go off shopping for a new man. Goron fucking teed.
Not the a-hole. How exactly does she expect a 17-year-old to give her kids a good life? With free babysitting? I'm guessing she never adopted you, so legally she has no custodial rights to you. It makes sense that you'd leave with your dad. Did your mom have a will? Any chance that there's an inheritance that you'll have access to when you turn 18? Or is there some sort of trust that they've been drawing on that your dad's wife is hoping to still have access to if you stay?
Would I be the a-hole for paying to get my autistic sister's name changed when she turns 18 against our mom's wishes? So I, 32 female, have a sister, 17, who turns 18 in a few months. She is diagnosed autistic and has some learning disabilities, but she is in no way stupid. My mother, on the other hand, uses her autism diagnosis to make it seem like she is incapable of making decisions for herself. But she expects her to act like a normal functioning person when it suits her. My sister has been telling anyone that will listen that she wants to change her name. She's been talking about it for a few years now, so it's not just a whim that comes and goes. Our mom told my sister that changing her name would be disrespectful and that, because of her disability, she doesn't actually know what she wants. I think my sister deserves autonomy and should be able to make her own decisions about her life. Since our mom is her payee for her SSI, she refuses to give her money. I offered to pay for the name change once she turns 18 since she'll be a legal adult and there's nothing our mom can do about it. I also offered to move her in with me, but she doesn't want to leave our youngest 2 siblings, 16 male, 15 female, behind. This is something she's very passionate about and wants really bad. I wouldn't offer if I didn't think she was capable of making this kind of decision. Our mom tries to infantilize her constantly and refuses to acknowledge that she is a smart and capable young woman. So would I be the a-hole for going through with this plan?
You need to consult an attorney. If your mom wants to argue that your sister isn't mentally sound, she can and will. Depending on how severe your sister's disability is, mom just might win.
Other than her having difficulty with math and reading and some social sensory issues, she functions like a normal person. She knows right from wrong, and she has more common sense than most neurotypical people I know. My sister's check is our mom's only source of income, so she milks her disability for all it's worth. She did the same thing with our brother until he finally had enough of her bullshit at 25 and moved in with his dad instead.
Your sister's SSI is not your mother's income. It is your sister's income, and once your sister is a legal adult, your mom has no claim on it. I get that you have younger siblings that you don't want to leave high and dry. But your mom is essentially defrauding the government here. She has no right to that money after your sister's birthday, and you should do what you can to become her payee, or make it so she receives the payments directly so your mom can't keep stealing her money.
Not the a-hole. Before the name change, you have some other more pressing issues to attend to. You need to make sure your sister wasn't declared incompetent or under conservatorship of your mother. If she was, you need professional help, lawyers and medical experts, to overturn that. Once any legal resistance to your sister's competency is cleared, remove your mother as the payee for SSI. Until your sister is 18, that money rightly belongs to your mother as your sister is still a dependent minor. Once she's 18, your sister can take control of that SSI. Keep in mind that if your sister chooses to stay in your mom's household, the name change is going to cause drama and your mother could very well kick her out. Make sure you have plans set up if that happens.
She tried to do that when my sister was younger, but she passed all the tests, so she's not considered incompetent and she's not under a conservatorship, so we're good there. As for the SSI, we went through the same thing with my brother. He, unlike her, was considered incompetent but was able to move in with his dad and get everything moved over to him. We already talked about the repercussions, and I have a bedroom with her name on it if things go south, but my sister's SSI is my mom's only source of income other than welfare, so I don't think it's going to come to that.
Am I the a-hole for not letting my sister-in-law's family stay with me after she gives birth? My brother and his wife are expecting their first child this summer. My sister-in-law is from a different country and her first trimester was not easy, and I know that she misses her family a lot. Her parents are planning to stay with them for a year when the baby is born, with a quick trip home in between so they don't overstay their visa. She was thrilled that they could do this. She recently asked if her sister and her sister's family, husband and 2 children under the age of 6, could also come out with her parents and stay with me because they won't all fit at their house. But she wants them to stay for 6 months. I asked if maybe they could do 2 to 3 weeks or even a month, but she wasn't happy about that at all because she really wants her sister to be here to help too. Am I the a-hole for thinking that this is unreasonable and feeling imposed upon? Her family would not be able to drive, and I live 30 minutes away from my brother and I work, so I wouldn't be able to drive them to see her every day, and I don't think my brother will have time to pick them up every day. Technically I have the space. But I like my quiet time, and having 4 people that I've never met stay with me for 6 months feels overwhelming. They don't speak English, so it would also be a little awkward in the beginning, I think. The plan is to homeschool the older child while they're here. The younger one isn't school age yet. I don't fully understand the husband's job, but apparently he's able to do it remotely. That would mean he's on calls and video meetings in the middle of the night though. I understand that it's hard to have a baby so far from your family, and I want to be supportive of my sister-in-law. I've been firm in my stance that a 6-month visit is too long, but she's pretty upset with me, and her and my brother haven't been speaking to me for a couple of weeks now, so I'm wondering if I'm just being cruel or selfish here. Edit. Thank you so much everyone for your comments and for helping me to feel much better that I was not being unreasonable. I'm reading through all the comments but wanted to reply to a few ideas that many had shared. 1. My brother and sister-in-law cannot afford a short-term rental, nor can her family. But beyond that, in her culture, it would be considered rude to put them up somewhere else if family can accommodate them. I believe they briefly looked at Airbnbs and short-term rentals, but in addition to the expense, her family's lack of permanent status for that long of a stay might have been a concern for some, not sure of exact details or convos, and maybe they just told me that to make it seem like they had no other option, but bottom line, they can't afford it. 2. Thank you to all who pointed out some of the potential legal issues with the husband working remotely here on a tourist visa, and the sticky situations that could come out of being here for so long. I had not considered that, and I really appreciate the advice. 3. If she were to go back to her home country with the baby instead of everyone coming here, my brother could only stay for a few weeks. And ironically, her family doesn't have room for them to stay with them.
Not the a-hole. If she wants them here, she can pitch up the money for 6 months in a rental. It's totally unreasonable to expect you to house another family for that length of time.
LOL. Even putting them up for 2 to 3 weeks would be a huge ask, let alone 6 months. Not the a-hole. What does your brother have to say about all this?
My brother doesn't think it's that big of a deal and feels like they'll keep to themselves when they're at my house. It just doesn't sound very realistic with 2 little kids. But I think he also wants to be as supportive of her as possible. She had a rough first trimester, and I know he was worried about not just her physical but also mental well-being, so I think he's in the frame of mind right now that we all should pitch in to make sure she's feeling properly supported. It's definitely making me pretty sad though. I would have liked to have a good relationship with them and the baby, and it's not looking great at the moment.
No freaking way, not the a-hole. 6 months is insanity. Honestly, how are they going to be of any help with no car and being 30 minutes away? In all seriousness, what help are they actually going to be to your sister-in-law? Who's feeding these people too? The extra electricity? The wear and tear on the house with 2 kids under 6? Are they going to pay for the internet they're going to have access to? This is more of a drain on you than it actually is any help to your sister-in-law. I get she wants family close and first kids are hard and scary. But common sense needs to come into play, and your sister-in-law needs to understand that the help she thinks she'll get won't actually happen. Rather, it'll tax and stress you out, all while putting unnecessary strain on your relationship with your family.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my mother's church even though they got me a graduation gift? Fair warning, I have nothing against religion or having a relationship with God. I have a best friend who is Christian and we get along super great, but the difference between what her and my mother believe is huge. Long story short, my mother drugged me to church from the time I was born until around when I turned 18 and decided that I wasn't going to go there. I have a bit of religious trauma from my mother and have talked to her about the multiple reasons I don't want to attend church at her church. Jumping to recently now, she told me about a week ago the church wanted to get me a gift for graduation. I told her something along the lines of, well, that's nice of them, but I don't need anything and I won't be going to that church. She acted like she has no recollection of me telling her all the reasons through the years of why I won't go to that church. She texted me this morning and is trying to convince me to come even though I have told her multiple times I won't come back. She texted me, the church will have your graduation gift for you today. Could you come to church at 11 o'clock to receive it? It would make us all happy. And I told her, I told you I will not go. She hasn't responded yet, but I'll update if something more comes from this. So am I the a-hole? What do you think? Of course there is way more that I could have prefaced this story with, but then the post would be a novel, so I'm just trying to stick with a little context and the basics of what happened recently. I definitely don't fit in at her church and haven't felt safe or welcomed in a decade. So yeah, am I the a-hole for refusing to go to receive a college graduation gift from the old church I haven't been to for a service in around 5 years? Again, I am not going, so don't worry about me going, I'm not.
This is very clearly a plan to bring you back to the church. Do you recall them ever offering grand gifts to any other members? Tell your mother you really appreciate the gift, but you will not be attending. She can either pick it up for you, or they can give it to another graduate. Not the a-hole.
Yeah, they're giving another girl a gift today.
Congratulations on your graduation. Just keep saying no.
The graduation gift is your baptism. Surprise.
Not the a-hole. If the gift is so important, she can bring it home with her. And if you really want, send a thank you card.
Not only is it manipulation, as other people have mentioned, but I bet the gift is something religious that you wouldn't want anyway. I would politely decline the gift and change the subject every time Mom brings up anything to do with that church ever again.
Am I the a-hole for putting a lien on my brother's house and refusing to remove it until he pays me? I do house renovations as a business. Even when I do work for family and friends at a discount, I have a contract. My nephews are getting bigger, and they want separate rooms. My brother asked me to help him finish his basement, make a couple of rooms down there, add a washroom, add a kitchenette, and wire up a family room. I priced it out and said I would charge him $32,000 including materials. This was a sizable discount. The bathroom alone, I would charge anyone else $15,000. He wasn't even roughed in. He never paid me. He always had excuses. I paid for the material and I paid my guys for the work. We did it when I had downtime, so I didn't lose out on other money, but it still sucked to get shafted. So I put a construction lien on the house. He didn't care, and I wasn't going to make him homeless. That was 2 years ago. Now he got a new job and has to move. And to get a new house, he has to sell his current house, which he can't do because there is a lien against the property. He called me to get me to remove it. He promised he would pay me as soon as it sold. I told him, fuck you, pay me. My parents called me to tell me that they would pay what he owes. I said I would agree so long as he paid them back, and if he didn't, then any money he didn't pay back had to come out of any inheritance we were getting, God forbid, and that interest started accruing from the day of the loan. They agreed that that was fair. My brother called me to scream at me for involving my parents in out inheritance. I reminded him that he involved them, not me. He finally took money out from a line of credit and paid me, with interest. I'm a reasonable man. The house sold over asking, and the finished basement suite made a huge difference on what he got. He is still pissed at me for doing it, but I did everything legal and by the books.
Not the a-hole. Who thinks you are besides him?
His wife, her parents. My parents aren't happy.
Not the a-hole. Bro seems like he was trying to get it for free and never would have paid you unless you forced the issue. Fuck you, pay me sounds entirely reasonable approach here.
Not the a-hole. You were smart to put a lien in place. I don't know why all these people are mad at you. It's business. And it's none of their business.
Not the a-hole. $32,000 is a lot of money, family or not.
Not the a-hole. In effect, he was planning to make you pay $32,000 for the privilege of fixing up his basement. Anyone who thinks you're the a-hole in this situation has got to be as selfish as he is.
Not the a-hole, but this is why you don't do business with family or friends. Not ever. Personal relationships have a different calculus than business relationships, and they don't mix well. If someone screws you in a business relationship, you can sue them, or give them a bad review, or put a lien on their property, all of which are generally uncool things to do to family or friends. It's a problem. So in the future, when a family member asks you to do professional work for them, either do it for free as a gift to them or don't do it at all and refer them to a good contractor who they can have a normal business relationship with.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.